very quickly, other headlines, of course. Oil is down. I'm just going to race through these because, I mean, Dr. Abati has talked about tariffs already. We already know it's impacting everything. So oil down. Asian markets, jump to Asian markets. It's blood red across. I think Taiwan is closed, but there you have it. Let's look at 2.7% for Nikkei. They're all down. If you look at, I think we had an image of what the tariffs look like, particularly for Asia, using some flags. So you can see 24% Japan. He kept UK at 10, 46% for Vietnam, 32% for Taiwan. China at the top left, if you add the other prior ones, it comes to like 54% for those tariffs. Moving on from there, we've got, I think, Nigeria, 14% in case anyone is wondering. And if you're thinking about the impact, remember when this day broke the news that America was going to be buying fuel from the Dangote refinery. So basically, any exports that are heading towards the U.S. are going to be applied a tariff coming from Nigeria. And as you know, if you look at our trade numbers, the largest item is crude oil exports. So you can imagine what, and you can see why oil is falling. There it is. So in historic deal, U.S. buys over 2 million barrels of jet fuel from Dangote refinery. So pretty much anything going out towards the U.S. is going to be hit with that tariff. South Africa got hit with 30%, as you know. There's a lot of animosity towards South Africa. So 30% for them. JP Morgan put out a note reacting to the shakeup of the NNPC and also the CBN transparency, putting out the net FX reserves. EM quick take: Nigeria positive news flow. Net FX reserves data and new NNPC board are positive. Stay long OMO bills. This is, of course, open market operation bills. They're basically saying that they are net long on Nigeria money market securities. And they also have essentially said that Nigeria, you can see at the top there, Nigeria local markets remain our top trade recommendation within frontier markets. So you can see when reforms take place, global market players essentially react positively to that. And also there, just two quick choir bars. I'm not going to read everything. At the top, net FX reserves came in line with expectations, but CBN's commitment to improve quality of reserves shouldn't be understated. They're saying we should see hopefully less pressure on the Naira going forward. And at the bottom, the change in NNPC management is a big step forward in the overall oil sector reform agenda. From there, I think we're going to stick with Nigeria. I understated Boa Foods sugar revenues, and I apologize for that. I said 400 billion. I was looking at company numbers rather than the group. Company is the parent company by itself. Group includes subsidiaries, because there's competition between Boa and Dangote. So you can imagine they say, hey, Oga, you cannot restate our numbers by 300 billion. So for the record, Boa Sugar 2024 revenue, this is part of Boa Foods, 734.5 billion and 95% earned for Nigeria. This is the first year that Boa has actually overtaken Dangote Sugar in terms of revenue. So just to set the record straight, Boa Foods coming in 734.5 billion. Dangote Sugar, which has been in the lead for a while, 665 billion. That's your sugar showdown. And then what else do I have? I think I round off with Fidelity. There's this whole debate around FUGAZ. FUGAZ is this acronym for First Bank, UBA, GT, Access, and Zenith. The folks there's been a debate as to whether Fidelity should be FUFGAZ, FUFGAZ for First Bank, UBA, Fidelity, Access, GT, and Zenith, because their net interest margins are competitive with them, because they've got an international banking license, because they're going to meet the CBN thresholds, because they've got solid leadership in Dr. Nneka Onyeli-Ikpe and Mustafa Chike-Obi in the chair. Of course, the pushback on that is that if you look at the FUGAZ makeup of the NGX, they make up about 6 to 7%, and their assets are much bigger. But it's a healthy debate in the banking sector. It's a good debate.
I think Fidelity has the capacity to get in there. But I think most of the guys in the FUGAZ, I think they're the first-tier banks, tier one bank. So I think Fidelity will creep in there. And I'm happy you quickly corrected that, because this competition is really Rotus. So you don't want your neck to be cut off. Let's talk about tariffs this morning. It's a hellhole what Trump has done. We knew it was going to come. That's why you shouldn't put a leader that cannot put his emotions in check as a leader. You see, it's a joke. And today, I never thought in my wildest dream that there will be a day I'll come on TV and say Mitch McConnell is my hero. I never thought in my wildest dream. But guess what happened? Yesterday, the Senate did pass a bill. And the bill was against the Canadian tariffs. Tim Kaine, former running mate to Hillary Clinton, pushed that bill. Tim Kaine said he walked up to Mitch McConnell and he told him, Mitch McConnell said, don't sell it to me. I'm on your side on this. And he voted, they passed it 51-48. Now they're going to push it to the reps. Now. And it speaks volumes that people in his Republican Party can stand up against this oligarch and this hegemon. Like we've argued before, it doesn't do anybody good. Tariff destroys everything.
Tax.
From Ford Macomber to Smoot-Hawley, to Payne and Aldrich, to Morrill, to the 1928 tariff, to the 1861 tariff, to the 1828 tariff. All of them have always gone to the McKinley tariff. All of them have always gone a slippery slope. And that's the thing about tariffs. And for me, penguins are very harmless animals. Why tax penguins in McDonald Island? That's my fight this morning, Dr. Abati. Penguins' life matter. Why tax penguins? Why put a tariff for penguins in herd at McDonald Island? Why?
It's looking for money.
He even taxed those in McDonald Island. The Donald.
Okay, well, while Rufai is here for the penguins, I'm here for the African context of this, specifically this time leaning towards South Africa, which has been hit by 30%. The US is claiming that the tariffs rather, on the South African side for the US is around 60%. Again, the chart had several numbers, many that we need to know the formula that they used to come up with some of those numbers, because official, unofficial. However, what I can tell you is that the South African economy is heavily tariffed. South Africa protects its economy with everything that it can, from cotton to clothing, textiles, to vehicles. You cannot import, brand new vehicles into the South African market. So it's a heavily protected market. So the question is, what will the reaction be from South Africa, knowing that they have a $4 billion trade surplus with the United States, number one. Number two, that is focused on agriculture and vehicles, many of which, actually all of which benefits from AGOA as well. Now, when you look at the vehicle manufacturers and you look at agriculture, who is it dominated by? It's actually dominated by Elon Musk's friends. So who's being punished in this is guys like the Stellenbosch Mafia. It's the white minority. That's what we call them. It's guys like the white minority who are still heavily subscribed to, owned by the white minority. It will be very interesting to see how this plays out, because it looks like all that lobbying has now backfired.
Markets are down.
Okay, let me still stay on the United States. If you look at the chart, about 180 countries are affected by these tariffs. Now, South Africa imposes on imports from the United States 60% tariff. Trump is now saying South Africa will take 30%. India imposes as high as about 29% or more on imports from the United States, and has a surplus, a trade surplus of 12%. Now, the US has said, okay, we will increase our own tariffs to maybe about 20%, right? Now, China imposes tariffs of up to 67%. Now, US has come in with a rate of 54%. The EU, on imports, existing imports from the US, 39%. Now, the US says will impose 20%. And Trump was saying yesterday that, look, all these countries, they've been cheating the United States. They've been benefiting from the generosity of the United States. Now, what I want us to question now is the principle of reciprocity, which is at the heart of international relations. You do me, I do you, tit for tat. That's how international politics is played. Now, is there a justification, just at the level of principle, for what Donald Trump is doing?
No.
Even when we argue that this will result in upheaval in global trade.
No.
Now, Trump is saying that America can no longer be Father Christmas. You charge us, we charge you, and that we will be a bit kind to you. Canada and Mexico, of course, have been, excluded from this new list. But what do you have to say to this?
It's about comparative advantage. If Rufai is good at making ties and I'm good at making phones, I will benefit from his imports of my phone, and I will benefit from your imports of your ties. You can't just place a blanket tariff on Leno. You don't make, look, there's one, I think it was Thailand. He put a 30-something% tariff on Thailand and was talking about coffee imports. The US hardly exports coffee to a number of countries. So what are you slamming the tariff to grow the coffee? So it doesn't make it's comparative advantage, and you have to base what you can make and what you can export to apply your tariffs.
What he did yesterday was general. It wasn't.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you know what Krugman said? Krugman said this is in the realm of being crazy. That's what Krugman said.
Okay, anyway.
Thank you, Dr. Martin.